Good afternoon, and well, possibly good morning to those on the West Coast. Still yet a little bit of time there this morning for you. I have unmuted Megan. I've unmuted your mic, Reed, and Lowell, and just wanted to welcome everybody to participating in the webinar this afternoon, and just wanted to kind of begin to introduce ourselves and the participants of the webinar today and the contributors. I know that we're going to have several people logging on as we continue to move forward here the next few minutes, but we use this time as an opportunity to introduce ourselves, and I'll go through a little bit of housekeeping in terms of how to ask questions and how to communicate during the webinar, and then also a little bit of the agenda and what to look forward to and what we have to offer today. But to begin, I'll introduce myself. My name is Alex Smith. I am co-founder at Vendor2Member. And we're going to go over a little bit about what Vendor2Member is, but we are the hardware industry's largest product sourcing directory. And so we have some really neat opportunities there. On the line with us right now, we also have Lowell. Lowell, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Lowell is actually going to be setting in for Bob today. Unfortunately, Bob had some last-minute family obligations he had to tend to. Nothing serious or anything going on, but he was just unable to be with us today. So unfortunately, fortunately, we have Lowell sitting in with us today. Lowell, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your role and kind of your title and what you do with the NRHA?
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Again, my name is Lowell Huffman. I'm the National Sales Director here for NRHA and Hardware Retailing Magazine. Been in the industry for about 4 years now. And pretty much handle a lot of the communication and goings-on between our research group, vendor partner, and a lot of vendor relations in the hardware retailing realm. So obviously glad to be here. Unfortunately, Bob couldn't make it, but looking forward to a great conversation today. So thanks a lot, Alex. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, and next we have Megan Menzer. Megan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing great today. It's a little bit cooler weather and the sun's shining.
Fantastic. Megan is owner at Newton's True Value in Kansas. Megan, tell us a little bit about your organization and your stores and the role you play with that organization.
Sure. So I am the owner of Newton's True Value in Cherryville, Kansas, and we just opened a second store in October of 2012 in Independence. And I'd say my role, pretty much, we provide a service to our community, not only through the goods and services that we sell, but by the knowledge that we have. We're not just a typical hardware store where people come in and just purchase goods. They look at us, we're Little League coaches, Sunday school teachers, chamber presidents. So, I think they come and shop with us for our knowledge and personal level that we have.
Fantastic. And then finally we have Reed. I don't have his picture up, but Reed is my business partner at Vendor2Member. Say hello, Reed.
Hello.
Reed works on, for Vendor2Member, I typically handle the front end and the sales and relations, and Reed has development and marketing and technology for Vendor2Member. And so we're going to be moving forward, and he will be a sounding board for questions and for answers that might be a little more technical in nature as we move forward in the discussion today. Next step here, I'm going to go ahead and outline a little bit of the agenda and talk about how to have a conversation with the WebEx today. You'll notice in the right-hand column, I do have everybody muted upon entry, so you can see a microphone next to your name. Make sure that stays red, just because some background noise and things like that. We do have a good crew participating today, and that can become a little overwhelming. So we will keep those microphones muted throughout the duration. So the best way to communicate, if you look on that right-hand column, you'll see a chat box, and there's a chat feature. Feel free, as we move forward and as the question arises, to go ahead and throw a question out in that space. We will do our best to address those as they come up, but most likely we will hold questions and read through those at the end, just to make sure that there's a good chance we will probably be covering it throughout the presentation, but if we don't, we'll make sure that it gets addressed at the end during a question and answer time at that point. Agenda-wise, the way we're going to move forward today is we want to talk a little bit about, obviously, how to support hardware retailers and sell more product. I'm going to go ahead at this time. I'm going to go ahead and mute Megan and Reed, or if you want to mute yourselves, Megan and Reed. And Lowell, I'll keep Lowell on. We're going to start off talking a little bit about the NRHA. Lowell's going to cover some of the programs, and as if maybe we don't even know about the NRHA. So he's going to give a little background on the organization, what its goals are, what it sets out to do in its mission. And then after Lowell goes, I'm going to discuss the Vendor2Member program and some of the services that we provide free to retailers and the tools and resources that participating in our program means as a vendor in the industry. And then we're going to move it on to Megan to talk a little bit about what's happening in the independent retailer industry right now from a retailer's perspective and some of the needs and some of the requests that retailers are having of us as vendors and as supporting organizations to help them grow and thrive in this very competitive economy and their local communities as they move forward. So I'm going to introduce Lowell. As we know, Lowell is the Director of Sales with the NRHA. And Lowell, I'm going to let you take it from here and just talk a little bit about your organization and the Vendor Partner Program more specifically as it pertains to hardware vendors.
Excellent. All right. Thank you. Are you going to pull up the PowerPoint there? There she is. Okay. Yeah, like Reed said, or like Alex said, assuming that a lot of you guys may not know exactly everything about NRHA, I want to talk kind of in two buckets. One, kind of our mission to the independent retailers, and one, how it pertains to the vendor community and how we try to reach on both sides of the aisle. Our mission that we founded in 1901, which is still true today, is how to help independent retail stores, home centers, and DIY lumberyards become more profitable and efficient merchants. Megan is actually one of our board of directors. We're governed by a board of directors that are independent hardware home center and lumberyard dealers. They hold us fiduciarily responsible for everything that we do as a non-for-profit to reinvest in programs, training, and all that kind of stuff that we do not only for retailers but also to help bridge that gap to the vendors out there. And everything that we do, as we spin up new businesses or ventures, always have to stay true to that mission statement. And on the next slide, you'll kind of see, in the industry, you'll see, the Hardware Retailing logo, which is our monthly publication, which is basically a how-to book on how to run a more profitable and efficient store. We have a full-time editing staff that travels the country and sometimes even globally to go check out, retail trends across the globe as we become more of a globalized economy. Planet DIY, which is a consumer-facing website that's designed to bring inspiration to consumers, that brings over 1 million unique visitors per year, has a independent hardware store locator, the first of its kind, to basically, try to reconnect consumers to the local economy. What we're going to talk a little bit later about is our Vendor Partner Program, which is, how we serve the manufacturing community and bring them closer to the retail segment. And more recently, we've launched a healthcare program for independent hardware stores. We host a Young Retailer of the Year program every year where we highlight some of the best and brightest upcoming retailers that are just really pushing the envelope. And most recently, we launched a retail management certification program through the Executive MBA program at Butler University, which is to help retailers that are looking to maybe pass down their business, succession planning, really just trying to serve these members and all the different things, the challenges that they're facing today. And again, all serving that mission, which is to help these retailers like Megan and the 35,000 plus that are out there, helping them run better stores as we compete against, mass merchanthood, big box, and so forth. Alex, if you want to jump to the next slide, we'll move along. Just to kind of show you how we're structured as an organization. You can see, NRHA is the national association, and underneath we have, again, Planet DIY, Hardware Retailing. We also have a catalogs division that we produce the mass, lawn and garden, plumbing, commercial industrial stuff for ACE and different co-ops and wholesalers. We have member services, which is that Young Retailer of the Year program, the retail management. We also do, I think we train probably 15,000 or so hardware independent store, your average 16, 18, 20-year-old that's in a hardware store. We send them through what's called our Home Center Institute, so we create those modules. We have a custom publishing division where, any of the industry organizations that need a custom pub, whether it be a magazine or a catalog or a magalog, they come to us and we provide those solutions. And then again, health insurance, which is a really cool thing that we're offering that's competitive, given that Obamacare kind of mandates that all companies offer their employees health insurance. We decided to dig in and see if we couldn't offer a solution that won't hurt them on the bottom end or the bottom line. So I guess we're going to move on and talk more about a couple things here. One, I wanted to talk about the Retail Discovery Package, which we just launched a couple months ago, which is, manufacturers like yourself and vendor partners of ours are always looking for a way to get retail insights into, maybe it might be packaging, merchandising, competitive nature, brand affinity, and so forth. We just launched a internal vertical here that we offer a program for manufacturers like yourselves to do custom research on how your brand's performing, your brand message, advertising, all that type of stuff at a very, very reasonable price. And then lastly, we just spun up what's called the NRHA Retail Research Group. Something that we used to do back when we had our lobbying arm in Washington. We dumped our research as, the HEREs and the different type of research institutes came along. But we wanted to focus more on custom research projects that are, a bit more granular in nature and aren't so kind of overarching, which NRHA vendor partners, when we publish that stuff, will actually get. So I guess getting to the meat and potatoes of this, to talk a little bit about the vendor partner program, which, thank you guys all for signing up today. Just want to, clue you in for the rest of the year. Our vendor partners get a very, very in-depth industry overview, which, as you guys know, all the major players, key contacts, distribution centers, key metrics as far as how the industry is performing, forecasting, all that type of stuff. As as vendors and manufacturers put together their business plans, it's always nice to have good, solid data to build those plans on, whether you're planning for advertising, marketing, trade shows, and so forth. You also get a cost of doing business study that we perform every year, where we look at the profit and loss statements of several thousand stores and basically help you. It's basically a benchmarking tool to show what average hardware stores do, and of course the high-performing stores like Megan's, and what stores can do to do that. But also from a manufacturing standpoint, how your goods or services might help that average store become a high-performance store, and basically just helps you understand what it takes to run a retail business. We also put down a monthly e-newsletter with information on the industry and so forth. Like I said earlier, all the exclusive research that we do with our new research group will be provided to our vendor partners. Access to independent retailers to the training portal. We build out microsites on NRHA.org for our vendor partners with hot products, training videos, and so forth. And again, we have quite a bit of traffic going through there. As I said, we train upwards of 10,000 to 15,000 of those independent retail floor salespeople every year. Marketing and advertising support. We put vendor partner logos on just about everything that we do. Our message to the retailers are, hey, these are the vendors that are interested in your business. As fragmented and as straight-cated as it might be, these are the people that are willing to invest and want to learn and earn your business. So we try to put you guys everywhere, that whether it be at the National Hardware Show in Cologne, Germany, or down in Guadalajara, we'd like to, really put the vendor partners on high and say, hey, these are the guys that are supporting not only the association, but each and every one of you guys out there. The Planet DIY, each vendor partner gets to load a video onto our consumer-facing website, the Planet DIY. Again, I encourage you guys to go and check that out. It's a pretty cool site and a huge build for us, a 2.5 to 3 year project. And then, I guess lastly, which some people may or may not use, is the corporate travel plan, through Hertz Gold and AirTran. So a very robust program that we're very proud of, and something that, our CEO, Bill Lee, recognize that bridge needs to be that gap needs to be bridged between the retailers out there and the manufacturers who stock their stores. And you guys are always innovating and always bringing new things to market, so it's important that there's an open line of communication. So with that, and again, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat bar. I'd be more than happy to answer them. But at this time, I will hand it back over to Alex.
Great. Thanks, Lowell. And so kind of a quick overview, and Lowell, you can confirm that we understand this correctly, that the NRHA is the Retailers Association for 36,000 plus retailers across the United States and beyond the United States, but primarily here domestically. And the Vendor Partner Program then is the NRHA's program that plugs that vendor and that manufacturer into resources that the NRHA has specifically designed to help retailers grow business, but also the vendors to gather that data that you're already collecting and present that to vendors and make it available to help them to grow their business and to craft their offerings to independent hardware retailers.
Absolutely, and yes, that's exactly right. We have probably nearly 300 vendor partners at this point, all leveraging the different types of data to help craft their brand positioning and so forth. But like I said, it's a two-way street, and like I said, it was built to serve our mission statement, but also we understand that the vendor community is a huge part of their success, so we wanted to tap into that as well.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lowell.
Thank you.
Next, we'll talk about the Vendor2Member program, and before I move into that, I'll just talk a little bit about my background, and then we'll address kind of the relationship between Vendor2Member and the NRHA, and that'll help pull together in full circle how these two programs really feed on each other and really work well as a pair for a tool utilized by a vendor in increasing sales and supporting retailers. I started out as a general manager at an Ace store, and during my time there, I learned a lot about the hardware business, and there's a few things that I really noticed as I moved forward, that I had consumers always coming in asking for non-stock products. So product that wasn't necessarily on my sales floor, and it wasn't in my RSC or my warehouse for my primary wholesaler either. It was people off the street as well as my industrial commercial accounts were coming in asking for products. Again, servicing those industrial commercial accounts was a huge need that I had because obviously those house accounts that I had, they came to me as the local hardware store, and with that relationship, looking to source product. And I always had difficulty locating any information. I had the wall of catalog in the back room from the 80s. That some of it was good and some of it wasn't. And I attended all the trade shows that were out there, and hundreds of pamphlets and catalogs. And as we all know, I was, as a retailer at the time, so focused on low lead laws and doing sales and VOC regulations and making sure my planograms and sets were up to date. The last thing that I had able to do in my time was memorize manufacturers' catalogs. No offense, and I know that all vendors want to think that we go to bed with that paper catalog, but unfortunately, that's just not the reality of it. So I saw a big gap and a need there. And ultimately saw the need for a centralized platform where vendors can communicate all of that information directly to retailers. After my time as an ACE manager, I went on to do it best as a buyer. And the facts and the realizations that came to me as a hardware store manager were reiterated as a buyer at Do It Best, where vendors were coming in and sitting across from me daily asking, Alex, how do we better communicate our full line of products to your retailers? Maybe they didn't have any product in warehouse. How do we get attraction? How do we let retailers know we're out there in our full product lines? Maybe it's a commercial industrial line that is never going to be a warehouse program. How do we better communicate that information? And on the flip side of that, when I went back to my desk, I had dozens of phone calls on a daily basis directly from retailers requesting help. The same situations that I had on the sales floor, my fellow retailers were having as well, saying, Alex, can you help me track down a vendor that manufactures product X? Do we have any manufacturer that makes this? Does this vendor or manufacturer have a vendor number with us? Can they bill through? And it really became apparent to me very quickly that this is a very basic need in this industry, and it's very basic information. So there really needs to be a centralized resource, and that's where Vendor2Member came in. And that's why we developed Vendor2Member, to be that centralized platform. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and I'm going to demo the site here real quickly so you can see how the platform works for a retailer's perspective, but also how it works for vendor communications. Okay, so here we are on the homepage of Vendor2Member. So as a retailer, when I go to Vendor2Member, I do register on site, and when I do register with Vendor2Member, I do indicate who my primary wholesaler is. In this case, I've registered as an ACE retailer for demonstration purposes today. When I register as a retailer and indicate my primary wholesaler, I then up here you can see where the product search, my initial search is going to be filtered and only result ACE vendors. So if I did a quick search for an example, a common product, I'm going to search for SharkBite. I'm going to see what kind of results populate. So I know that the populating result is going to be a ACE vendor, because I have filtered it here as an ACE vendor, because I'm registered as an ACE store. Scrolling down, it's very similar to any product search page you've ever used on Amazon or any other site. So it's very familiar and intuitive to a retailer. If we open a product, now you can see all the information that I want to know as a retailer right on one page. So I can see the image, I can see the product name, product detail, part number. A lot of manufacturers will list costs, but it's completely optional to the retailer, to the vendor if they want to list that cost or not. And it's very common information, so your description, any product details, any parts or accessories to this product, and then any resources to this product, MSDS sheets, spec sheets, etc. In the left-hand column is all of the vendor co-op specific information. So this is the part that gets exciting to me with my background, because yes, anybody could just do a Google search, but what I need to know as a retailer, and Megan will reiterate this when she talks a little bit about the need for this information, I need to know the right information when I need to know it. So I can see in the left-hand column that this is an ACE vendor, the organization, general contact information. Right here is the ACE-specific contact information. So if I want to get any more information or purchase the SharkBite, then Cash Acme has indicated Sherry Davis as a sales representative for all ACE retailers. At that point, I can send her a message for inquiring on more information, or pick up the phone and place a call to her. This is a good opportunity at this point to talk about Vendor2Member does not organize or facilitate purchase orders between vendors, retailers, or wholesalers. So it is Vendor2Member's 100% goal to support retailer sales, vendor sales, and bill through every retailer's respective wholesaler. So by indicating this retailer who they sell through, that they're an ACE vendor, then that retailer would have the ability to purchase this product by contacting that sales representative just as they would today. And then that sales representative, or whoever's indicated, maybe it's a national sales manager, or maybe it's the customer service line for the vendor. But then that retailer would give the sales contact their store number, and it would bill through, in this situation, it would bill through ACE Corp, just like a drop ship or a direct purchase would be done every day already today. We just facilitate that sharing of information so that when a retailer needs to know, and they're trying to either complete a purchase order for an industrial commercial account, or someone off the street, now they don't have to call 6 or 7 different places, go to 6 or 7 different websites, make 3 or 4 phone calls to do and find information that is now readily available in one quick search. Taking this one step further, as a vendor, you also get a vendor homepage. So yes, your products are all searchable on Vendor2Member, but what we do to take it to the next step is we give you a vendor homepage. On this vendor homepage is a complete listing of all of your products that you have listed on Vendor2Member. So you can see here, any product information or organization information can be listed, including brands, how-to videos, training videos, any external resources that you have can be listed here, as well as co-op specific offers and specials that you have going at any specific time. The really exciting part about this is your web page. So this is a unique URL with all of your co-op specific information. So you can see here, you share that one URL. It doesn't matter if you share that URL with a do-it-best retailer, with a United retailer, with, it doesn't matter what retail affiliation that retailer is, they're going to see their respective sales contact information, vendor numbers, etc. in this space. Now down below, again, this is all of your product listings, and this search bar here will exclusively search for your product on this page. So now if a retailer wants to know more about what you have to offer, they can simply do a quick search here. So if I search water heater, it's not something you would necessarily think of when you think of a fitting organization like Chapman. However, when I search for that in this search bar, it's not going to search the entire Vendor2Member database. It is going to search this product, this vendor's line of product exclusively. While that's coming up, I'll take this opportunity to share the next, as you can see here, now it brings up the water heater connectors. So I think this is all well and good, and I know the question that's going to be asked is how do we manage, how do we load all that product? And we really have 2 ways. And one way is the traditional way where you take your product and you hard upload it via Excel spreadsheet, and we have a very optimized program for that to load that. And lots of vendors go about it that way. The second option, and which is our primary option, is we have invested heavily and researched heavily and created an amazing site scrape technology that we're able to go to your manufacturer's website and actually pull off all your product data and list it. So after a quick 10 or 15-minute consultation with you on the phone, we're able to quickly scrape, load all your products, and at that point, all you would need to do is populate your co-op specific information. So it's a very quick upload process to begin having all of your products searchable to hardware retailers. So in whole, that's a little bit about the Vendor2Member program. Kind of going full circle, and then we'll have a short discussion with Megan. With the NRHA and Vendor2Member, obviously NRHA being the retailer association, they are the authority in the industry. And now that Vendor2Member has well over 400 vendors, and Reed, you can confirm this statistic, but we have surpassed 1 million items listed through those vendors on Vendor2Member.com, and we have quickly become that authority for product sourcing and product information. So our relationship is a new alliance with the Hardware Retailing and the NRHA, and as their product preferred product sourcing directory, as you can see here on every page of HardwareRetailing.com is our vendor search widget. So all of your products, when you participate in Vendor2Member, are now not only searchable from Vendor2Member, but also searchable from HardwareRetailing.com, and soon it'll be searchable on NRHA.org as well. So that's the relationship that we have as they work to empower and provide tools and resources for retailers. Product sourcing is a huge part of that, and so that's why we have teamed together and to provide this this opportunity and help communicate this to retailers and to vendors together as a team. Okay, Megan, if you're unmuted, go ahead and we're going to go on and like you to talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, you talk a little bit about. 'Cause, you know, I know, Megan, your organization again. I know we kind of briefly did at the beginning, but talk a little bit about your role again, your stores, the size of your stores, and maybe detail out a little bit about how things have changed in terms of product information and the ways you're needing and the support you're needing to compete in your local economy. Sorry, Megan, are you there?
Okay, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sorry, I think you got muted.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, well, great. Again, I'm Megan Minzer, and I am the fourth generation. My great-grandparents started our business in 1924, and we're just in a small little town of 2,500 people. We've got an old building downtown, and then in 2012, we've actually expanded into a town of about 10,000 people, and we're in a new destination True Value store that's about 17,000 square feet. So before I go any further, I just want to real quick, I know there's a few of you who already support NRHA that are on the line, and I just personally want to thank each of you. We would not be as successful as we are without your guys' support, so just thank you very much. I appreciate the support and the videos and the education that you provide the NRHA. As far as our business changing in the past five years or so, of course, the Internet's at everybody's fingertips, and so we have consumers that come in that have already done all the research, or they come in and they're on their iPhones or iPads, and with the millennial generation knowing, being educated before they ever walk into the store, education for my employees is key, because we can't just know a little bit about the product. We have to know more than the consumer knows, so that way when they come in, we can educate them, teach them maybe how to use the product or their benefits. And so when I hire my employees, I hire them on attitude, not on education, because I feel like you can educate anybody, but you cannot change their attitude. And so every one of my employees is required to take the NRHA training before they can ever even walk on the floor. And with that being said, my employees, the vendors that are participating in the NRHA, my employees are very familiar with them, and so they'll outsell that product 10 to 1 over widget A versus widget B, because they know the ins, the outs, the applications, and they're just familiar with that product. And so I just think that with the people are in a hurry, they want in and they want out, and before, people would come in with all kinds of questions, and our employees, if they weren't sure, they could do some research. Well, today you have to know what's going on. You have to know what's going on with the product, how to use it. And, 10 years ago, people would have thought, I'm not driving 10 miles to go get a different product, and today they'll drive an hour. And so it's like, well, what makes you stand out? How are you going to keep those people coming back to you? And it's knowledge. It's knowing about the product. It's educating our consumer. They come in, and our employees, I feel like they're already one step ahead of the competitor, because they've done the research, they've done the training online, they understand what the product is, and so the consumer will come in, and they might know or they might think they know, but our employee is ready because they've done all the training.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, another thing, too, is Vendor2Member. With the Internet being at everybody's fingertips, you can be at a stoplight and order a product online. Well, with Vendor2Member, it is a vital role for us, because we do have consumers that come in. Hardware items are researched, and I don't know the statistics on it, but, tons of people do research, but they don't want to actually hit the purchase button online. They still want to come in, and they want to show you exactly what they can get, but they want that face-to-face relationship. They want to know that if I purchase this faucet in 6 months and it starts leaking, you're going to take care of me. And it's all about taking care of the consumer. So Vendor2Member, it used to take us, 5 hours by the time you've made all the phone calls and done the research and had voicemail to actually special order parts, to where we can look it up, have it ordered before our consumer is ever even out the door.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, that's a very, very similar experience to what I had on the floor as well, Megan. I guess finally here, really, this is the reason we brought this today, and to kind of bring this full circle, is we wanted to, obviously with the new relationship between Vendor2Member and the NRHA, we really want to do a joint effort in communicating. Here are two tools and two ways that, if embraced, really, truly, and honestly, can support independent retailers and increase your sales. So when retailers' sales increase, your sales increase. When you better organize and communicate your information and your product data and provide support to those retailers, then your sales are going to increase. As well as, obviously that's the very fundamental nature of these two products and how they work together full circle. The NRHA program and obviously Vendor2Member have several different components and proactive sales tools associated with each. But in being in specific nature, that ability to work together in very base form and providing that information in that database, and then leveraging the NRHA Vendor Partner Program with the visibility is a really strong tool.